That is fine. Okay. So now let's look at Mrs. Debrah. So they said Mrs. Debrah has been in employment of Apex Bank Limited since 1st August 2015, right? And then we know that anytime your salary scale does not meet the normal calendar year, right, as an individual, individuals have their basis period to always be the calendar year, okay? So we are going to make sure it fits into the calendar year. But which year are we computing the income for? For 2017. We are going to compute the income for 2017. So how then do we do this? So first of all, let's get her salary scale, her consolidated salary. So one, we say what? Determination. You should always use nice headings. It tells a lot about you. Determination of what? Annual basic. Or you can say annual consolidated put together, right? Annual consolidated salary for Mrs. Debrah. For which year of assessment? 2017 year of assessment, right? These are we all on point? You underline it nicely. So let's work out. So what's the first day she was employed? Let's look at the scale. So they said that they are paying her 8,400 from the first day she started employment, which is going to increase by how much? 600 cedis every year.
Every year.
A limit of what? 9,600.
9,600.
This is what this salary scale means. So I pay you 8,400 start. It increases by 600 every year. Then when it gets to 9,600, we'll now renegotiate the contract or decide whether we want to increase your salary, right? So that's the limit. So let's see the scale. When was she employed?
1st July.
1st August, right? 1st August
August,
2015. That means the period will end, 1 year will end when? 31st July, right? 2016. True or false?
True.
So she will receive her first what? 8,400. Okay, Mrs. Debrah, take your 8,400. Now on 1st August 2016, not so, to 31st July 2017, she is going to receive a first increment of what? 600, not so. And that'll give us what?
9,000.
Okay. Now on 1st of the 8th, 2016, 2017 to 31st of the 7th, 2017, she received 9,000 plus what? 600, giving us 9,000 what? 600, right?
2018.
2018, yeah. So on 1st of the 8th, 2018 to 31st of the 7th, 2019, how much will she receive?
96 plus.
Yes, so it's
Another
96 plus 0, because this is the limit. Do you all agree? So no matter where we go, it will keep being 96, 96, 96, 96, 96 until management decides to review and change your salary. Do you all agree? I realize that some students, when maybe the period they are looking for falls beyond the limit, they get confused. The whole thing is, even if I'm going to 2020, so 1st of the 8th, 20, let's just say we are computing an income for 2020. Let's see how it will be. So 1st of the 8th, 2019 to 31st of the 7th, 2020, what will be our income? It will still be 96. Do you all agree now? Do you all get it? Because this is the limit. That's what the limit is 96. So once you get to 96, you cannot increase again. It will become 96, 96 throughout because the increment is finished. Is everybody okay? Is everyone okay?
Yes.
By which year are we computing the income for?
2017.
2017. So how many 2017s can we see? So just take your pencil in exam, say, okay, when I look at the range, I can see 2017 here. How many months of 2017 can we see here? Because it starts from 2016 and ends in 31st July, meaning that 7 months of 2017 is here. Do you all agree? So when we come here,
Yes.
see from August to December 2017 also here, that means 5 months of 2017 is here, right? So with this being said, that means this income, we have to take 7 on 12 of it. And this income, we have to take what? 5 out of 12 of it, right? So her consolidated salary is going to be what? 7 out of 12 times 9,000 cedis plus 5 out of 12 times what? 9,600. Not so. And that gives us what for her consolidated salary? So 7 out of 12 times 9,000 plus 5 out of 12 times 9,600. So we end up with 9,250. Please, is everybody okay? So we've got her consolidated salary, and this working sometimes is between 3 to 5 marks. Okay. Any questions so far, or everybody's okay with the salary scale? Everybody okay with the salary scale?
Yes, please.
Okay. So what's the next thing we need to do? Get her assessment, right? So do you know what I want you to do as a student? Do you know what I want you to do as a student? Don't directly move and do the calculation. Look for things that require separate calculations, right? And see if you can do them before you you even start your working. So let's walk through and see some things that may be required separately. They said what? As a director of operations, meaning she's a senior staff. Do you get it? You see how I'm coming up with these things? So don't just jump directly. Otherwise, you start doing cancellation. First, get an overview. So director of operations, senior staff. Is it junior or senior?
Senior.
Senior staff, we have, and they said what? She has a well-furnished bungalow provided by an employer in respect of which she pays 45 cedis per month as rent deducted at source. So well-furnished accommodation. So you say what? Benefit in kind. Then you start putting them down, right? Because these things are important. So benefit. Accommodation, we know that accommodation is a percentage of what? Total cash emolument, right? So you put it down. So you know that fully furnished accommodation has no limit, right? So this is fully furnished. We know it's 10% of our cash emolument. Now 10% can be split, right? So if it's accommodation only, we know if it is accommodation only, it's 7.5% of TCE. If it is shared accommodation or furnishing only, then it's what? 2.5, right? So accommodation plus the furnishing gives you 10%, right? 2.5 plus 7.5 gives you 10%. So you know this, right? She has accommodation. Just put your points down and you will be fine. We mark according to what you've done. We don't mark the whole thing. Where some people, if they see one note that confuses them, then they skip the question. Stop that. See, if you go to the exam, let me show you. Assuming I didn't understand this note, I'll just cancel the note. I didn't see you cry. Oh, I didn't see you. Me, this is what I do. That's why I score very high marks. If I see a note I don't understand, I cancel it completely from my question paper. I don't care. I will not go and think about it. I'm not struggling to get 100%, right? So you see, this note now does not exist. Then I look at the question without that note. But a lot of students will be thinking about that note. Say, yeah, the guy left Ghana, his family came, he left to this employment. How do we treat this? And you are wasting time. See, immediately you see something and you cannot remember anything about it, it means you don't know, and you will never remember anything about it. Don't worry yourself. Do the question as if that thing does not exist. They are marking according to ticks. Please, I'm telling you, most people fail because they've seen a question and they are still trying to think. If you think and something is not coming, it means you don't know. There's difference between I have forgotten, which said, okay, this thing I've seen it before. But if it's something you have not seen before, what do you want to write? It's computation. For all you know, that thing, it has no treatment. It's like management accounting. They'll bring some long way about labor being employed. They've worked for 10, they are supposed to work for 500 hours, and then you have already paid them, but the machine broke down, and they'll talk plenty. Meanwhile, all that statement is irrelevant because you've already paid the staff for it. So even if they have to work in a new contract, right, you've already paid them for it, so it's irrelevant. And then you are looking at it, wasting your time. Meanwhile, you could have put your effort on another corporate income tax question, which will give you more marks. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I'm not only teaching you for the knowledge, but the exam techniques are also important. So what was the key takeaway from what I said? I said, when you see a note you don't understand, what do you do?
Guide it as if it's not existing.
Discard it because you are not there to get 100, right? But if you see 1, you don't know, 2, you don't know, 3, you don't know, 4, 5, then you say, master, you have to check yourself. That means you didn't learn. Because you can't go and see plenty notes like that that you don't understand. So I beg. So at least 2 or 3, if you don't just skip, right? So that is it. Are we cool? Are we cool? Please, are we all okay?
Yes,
So
sir.
that is it. Apart from that, what else did Mrs. Debrah have? Okay, watchman, risk allowance. Do you know they like this thing a lot nowadays? The allowances they give it as a percentage, meaning that if your consolidated salary calculation, this one is wrong, then that all your question will be wrong. So you must be very careful when you are computing the salary. Okay, because if you make a mistake, that means remember this 15 will be added to, so if the salary is wrong, this 15% will be wrong. The total cash emolument will be wrong. All your benefits, when you add it, the net figure will be wrong, like that. So be careful. Are we okay? They like it a lot. Now, they said what? She has 2 maid servants on respective wages of 95 cedis and 75 cedis per quarter, right? But then we know these are non-cash benefits, but they said the amount is paid directly to Mrs. Debrah's bank account. Does this qualify as cash or non-cash benefit now? Cash or non-cash?
Cash benefit.
Cash or non-cash?
Cash.
Cash, because now they pay to Mrs. Debrah.
Cash.
And anytime we pay a benefit, something like maid servant or non-cash benefit to you directly, we just add it, right? As cash. In the course of the year, she was giving cash gift, right? This is a gift from employment. We add. She's provided with car, fuel, and driver for official and private use. So car, fuel, driver, right? She was provided car, fuel, and driver. So you say vehicle, right? So vehicle benefit. Then you write it somewhere in your paper just to remember, right? So you just put your percentage of TCE and then the limit, right? So we know that fuel plus vehicle plus driver gives us what, 12.5 up to a limit of what, 600 as at that time, right? Then per month, meaning that 7,200. I think I've shifted it too much. You see, this thing, nobody will give it to you in exam. So you have to find a way to remember. And I gave you a shortcut. So we say what? The percentage of TCE, that's all. Then the limit. So we know that this one is 12.5% with a limit of 7,200 per annum. If you divide by 12, you get the per month, right? Then we have what? Fuel and driver, right? So fuel and vehicle, fuel and vehicle being 10%, also at 500, which means that this one, 512, 60, right? So you have 6,000 limits. No, so then you have fuel only. In dividing this by 2, you have 5%. And then at 250. 250 by 12 will be how much? 3,000, right? Then we have vehicle only, which is also 5%, also at 3,000. No, so once you have this, then you know that whatever you do, you can put it in the limit. So just note these things down, then you can solve your question adequately. And they said she's married with 7 children, 4 of whom are in senior high school, the rest are working. She's responsible for the upkeep of 4 aged relatives. She's currently pursuing MPhil at Kwame Nkrumah University, where she incurs 8.5 by way of education expenses. This note that they've given, you know, somebody who think about it and will not know what to do. What is the implication of this note here?
It's not professional, so I don't think we need to add it to the
Yes, they are looking at professional allowance.
list.
See, another student will say, it is the hope of the company that the course will help improve our professional skills. And then she will go and say, okay, she get professional allowance. No, MPhil is not professional course, academic. So all these notes is irrelevant. This one, she's currently pursuing. It's irrelevant. You don't, it has no treatment. Wakoboka 8.5, how are we concerned? If you spend your 8.5 for your MPhil, how are we concerned? Why is she doing the MPhil? 8.5. Okay, 2017. She also contributes to Social Security and she received 15,000 as donation to her father's funeral. What is that? Cash gift, right?
Targets.
Okay. So they say we should compute a liability. So once you've been able to put up these things, now you are satisfied that you can do everything, right? So this is what the examiner wants from you. The name of the person being assessed. So Mrs. Debrah, nicely said. Then you say what? Computation of chargeable income and tax payable for the 2017 year of assessment, and also basis period from 1st of the 1st, 2017 to 31st of the 12th, 2017, right? Then Ghana cedis, nicely done. So we'll start with her basic or consolidated salary, right? A basic salary, and always make reference to the workings that you have worked for it. And how much did we get? 9,250. No, so we already worked. Then we add cash benefits. So what cash benefit did she receive? They said she receives watchman allowance. Yes. It means that the employer gave her a watchman, right? But she receives the money in her account. So watchman allowance also 47 cedis per annum. Okay. Then risk allowance. So when percentages are given, be careful. They said she received 15% of a basic, which is 9,250. And that gives us what? 1387.5. Not so. Then she has leave. Leave allowance being what? 230. Then she has meals. Meals allowance being what? 100 cedis per month, rather. 100 times 12. 1,200. These are we all on point? 1,002. Then what else did she have? 2 maid servant, right? Maid servant allowance. So there are 2 maid servants. 95 cedis per quarter times 4 plus the other one receives 75 cedis per quarter. So times what? Times 4. How much do we get for the maid servant? So 95 by 4 plus 75 by 4. 680 cedis for the maid servant. And in the course of the year, she was given a cash gift, right? So cash gifts. How much? 2,800. Quantifiable, right? Market value. Then she's provided with car, fuel, and the rest. But then they said what? She received a donation, right? Another gift donations received for the father's funeral. 15,000. Okay. So when we add all, these are all the cash benefits she received. So when we add all, what do we get for Mrs. Debrah? 47 plus 1387.5 plus 230 plus 1,200 plus 680 plus 2,800 plus 15,000. That gives us 21,344.5, right? This is what we have. So we add it to the 9,250, and that gives us our total cash emolument. So total cash emolument. So when we add, what do we get? 9,250 plus our 21,344.5, and that gives us 30,594.5. Okay, so that is done. Now we need the qualifying cash benefits. Okay, qualifying non-cash benefits, sorry. And every time I want you to follow this approach. The qualifying ones are the ones that the law specifies, right? Which is vehicle accommodation, and then loan, right? So with let's start with accommodation. She's giving a fully furnished accommodation, but she's paying a portion of it, right? So accommodation, I think she has what? That becomes what? Fully furnished. So 10% of TCE, which is 30,594.5, right? 30,594.5, which is what? 0.1 by 30, 0.1 by 30, 594.5. That is about 30,594.5. Then we less what? We less the rent paid. She pays some of the rent, meaning the portion you pay is not a benefit. And how much of the rent was she paying? They said fully furnished accommodation, where she pays 45,000, 45 per month as rent. So 45 times 12. How much is she paying as rent? 45 at 12, 540. So out of this, she pays what? 540 cedis as rent. So when you take it out, what's the benefit that she's getting? 3059.45 minus 540. That means she has a benefit of 2519.45, right? Okay. Then we come to vehicle, right? So vehicle benefit. So for a vehicle benefit, she has what? Fully, it was vehicle, driver, and fuel, right? Okay, so 12.5% of the 3594.5, right? That gives us how much? 0.125 by 3594.5. Okay, so that gives us 3824.31. But the thing is that there's a limit, and the limit is what? 600 per month. So by the 12th month, that's 7,200. And 7,200 compared to this, we want the lower of the two, the lower of whatever you have in the limit, right? And then it seems this one is lower than the limit. So our benefit now becomes a 3824.31, right? So this is the total benefits that we now have, which we are now going to add to our income. So 2519.45 plus 3824.31. Okay, so we end up with 6343.76. Okay, as our total qualifying benefits. So in that case, our total accessible income from employment will be what? The accessible income from employment. That's how much. So we add this to our 3594.50, and we end up with 36,938.26. Okay. So now the question is, did she have any relief? Yes, she contributes to Social Security. So less reliefs. So Social Security Fund, you contribute 5.5% of your basic, which was 9,250. So what do we get for that? 0.055 by 9250. Now she has 508.75. Then she has other reliefs. That's personal relief, upfront relief. They said what? She is married with 7 children, 4 of whom, but they didn't say that she is dependent or her spouse is dependent. But however, because it's a question, you add your assumption. So marriage, as at 2017, was 200 per annum. Okay, but now it's 1,002. They said 4 children. They are all in senior high school, so we can take child education, right? For only 3 children. As at 2017 is 200. So 200 by 3 children, which gives us 600. Okay. Then, what else do we have? They said upkeep of 4 aged relatives. So aged dependents, we can only take what, 2 by 100 cedis each, which is 200 cedis. Okay. Did she have any other benefits? Or that was all? So this question was a sure banker, very simple question. So 508.75 plus 200 plus 600 plus 200. So 150.
They receive 15,000. Okay, that's not easy. I think we've done that.
I think these were the only values we have. So 36,938.26 minus 1,508.75. So we end up with 35,429 as the chargeable income, right? Chargeable income. And I know you know how to use the graduated schedule, so I'm not worrying myself. Let's take another.